It's time to figure out why. Why? Why, Hagita? Why? That's the bet. Why you? Why you? Where are you? Where are you? You. This guy. Why you? Why not you? Or you? Or you? Or, you know, the main character. Or the main character. Or basically the other main character. Why? Why Hagita sock? But cut the sock. That's not real. We don't do that here.
This is coming one way or another. I named my channel and persona after a character in a manga, so I'm contractually obliged to stan Hagita. And he needs it, since Orange really only seems to see him as comic relief, a voice of challenge, or in the context of his relationship with Azu. So here I am, here to defend my boy from slander. Except if my channel name wasn't his name, you probably wouldn't know he existed. Part 1. Comic Relief. I hate to say it, but Hagita's basically a joke character. He's walking the tightrope the entire manga. He has his emotional moments, but throughout all the manga, he's primarily a punchline. The two ways this takes shape is in purely visual gags, like him reacting to Azu stealing his bread, or him being physically exhausted anytime anything remotely physical happens, and him containing a joke in and of himself, like when he draws muscles on himself. A common-ish joke of Hagita's is stuffing his mouth full of food, which is funny on shock value, but isn't really overall. Another common one is when he gets bullied, aka he's the punchline of the joke, which also ties in kind of with another one where it's just Hagita being weird, like when he draws muscles on himself and everyone's like, haha, look at that kooky kid. But since this is an overly in-depth guide, I counted everything I considered a joke that Hagita does in the entirety of Orange. And my categories are food jokes, bullying in air quotes, weird antics, and visual gags. And this is taking into account cover pages for the chapters, because everyone he's in it, he looks some sort of expression that is not joy. The moral of the story is Hagita gets bullied a lot by the cast. A common trend in some of the larger group scenes is that everyone's there except Hagita. There'll be Naho, Kakeru, and Sua doing something important with Takako and Azu observing, but there's no Hagita. Where is he? Well, he's probably at home watching Yogeta or whatever it's called. And when he is there, he's kind of just vibing, which I respect. Mad respect for just kind of vibing in every scene, which partially is because he never really draws his eyes when he's just vibing there with his glasses. So he looks like vaguely threatening, but also like he's just living his life. And I very much respect that. But this isn't to say he doesn't have any character moments. He's just mostly a joke. Part 1.5. Hagita here to help explain Hagita's jokes. I'm going to explain to you the comedy in Orange. This is the first part, the visual humor. It's right there. You see, that's the joke. That's the joke. He's right there because she's eating his bread and he's reacting to it. That's funny. You do understand that that's funny. And here we have Hagita bullying. As you can see, Hagita just wants to listen to underground music. He just wants to culture himself. And all they're doing is being bullies. They won't let him culture himself. He's starting to learn new music. Kakuru's grabbing this man. This isn't fair. He's just being bullied. He's being abused. And I think it's supposed to be a joke. This isn't comedy, but I just wanted to point out our boy, our bro. Where he just straight up lies. He just straight up lies to her. He goes, Kakuru's not there. He's over here. He's not over there. He's just being a wingman. He's doing his job right. He's just so good. He's a good boy. Here we have another bully's dream. So it's here, right here. You can't read any of this, but Hagita's spilling the tea. He's like, Nakami likes Kakuru too, which he's done like 4 times already. He just does not care. And now he's being bullied because he's being told, could you please shut up now? It's not funny. Actually, it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. Okay, we're gonna be an actually funny thing now, which is bullying, air quotes, but also it's kind of a Hagita Nazu moment. So it's right here in the bottom. Azu is calling Hagita out. He's been called out because he needs to join the relay. Come on, guys, this is not new content. And so she goes, get up. And the Hagita, better get your ass up right now. That's the best face, one of the best faces in this whole manga, right there, right there. And he does it. And look at that pure smile. Look at that. That's the good stuff right there. That's the good kush. But he's gonna run. And that is what I would consider an actually funny joke. Part 2. Hagita doesn't believe in time travel. The other role Hagita exists to fill in Orange is that of the guy who doesn't believe in time travel, which is a small aspect and is disproven within the context of the narrative, since the whole conceit of the plot is that the letters came from the future. So this purpose of Hagita is fine, but it doesn't really add anything, especially near the end, where older Hagita is like, let's not send the letters, that's impossible. But we as the audience know this isn't true, because the entire plot of the manga has told us that it does work. So while it shows that not everyone believes in the plan, it doesn't really matter if they don't know it works, because we already know it does. We knew from like the first page of the manga that it does work. And the other instance of his disbelief in time travel is in the timeline where they got the letters. which is really just a scene to be like, look, here's how our time travel works. And to just disprove, like, changing the future and all that fun stuff, and seeing what's the result of our actions, the letters. But I'm also a firm believer of you don't need to explain time travel mechanics, because it doesn't matter. It 99% of the time is just a waste of that time. Because it ends with, I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. Or someone who vaguely understands science who's like, that's not how that works. And it doesn't matter. The whole way they send the letters back to the past is a shot in the dark. They don't believe in time travel. They're like, maybe this will work. But it's a coping mechanism. It's not the focus. Time travel is not the focus. It's a means to an end. They're trying to keep Kakeru alive in the other timeline. It's not about time travel. The mechanics don't matter. And I will die on that hill, everyone. Part 3. Hagita and Azu. Is it wrong to say that Hagita and Azu are the best thing about Orange? Because they are. They have easily the best chemistry among any two characters. Their banter is great, and they're both awkward about their feelings. What more could you want? The second highest number of Hagita moments in the manga were moments that were jokes about Hagita and Azu, either being a married couple or something about them dating, which somehow never got old, which I think in part is due to how expressive Hagita is when he is actually relevant to the scene, and just watching him react so strongly to these comments made about him and Azu was funny to me. He's being a tsundere, but in the best way possible. Which leads to the biggest crime of Orange, is that they never get together by the end. In the future timeline, they still aren't married, to which my only response is, how is that even possible? I cannot comprehend how they're not together in the future. They're the best couple in the entire manga, better than Kakeru and Naho or Suwa and Naho. So I went to Mirai, the sequel manga. Kind of, it's sequel, it's time travel, it doesn't matter. I already said it doesn't matter. Time travel is irrelevant. Anyways. I've read this before and I thought it had remedied the crime and that they were dating. But oh, I was sorely mistaken. I remembered it all wrong. And what I read was even worse than if I had just... I have no words for what I'd read in Mirai. They're dating for a bit. For a couple pages, if that, in Mirai. But then they pierce you through your heart. And it's all just a dream. A fucking dream. The only payoff we see to Hagita and Azu moments happens in a fucking dream. Part 4. Hagita's bro moments. I had initially planned just to be a section, but Hagita is such a bro for so much of the story. He shows his genuine concern for Kakeru better than Naho ever could. When he isn't being a meme, he's looking out for his friends and their well-being. And for that, I respect the hell out of him. He may not exist sometimes, but his impact can be felt throughout the story. The biggest examples of this being him misdirecting Ryo away from Kakeru, which is him being a good Hagita, being a good wingman. And the other is where Hagita messes with Kakeru's bike to make it more difficult for him to take his own life. Which is kind of messed up, he has the bike, but he had the best intentions, so I'll excuse him for his actions. Hagita shows his care for others through his willingness to try his best for his friends. Him asking Azu to help him get faster is probably one of the best moments of the manga. It's a good Hagita moment, and it shows how committed Hagita is to win the race with the group. He may look like death incarnate during the race itself, but we can tell he's pushing himself beyond his limits for any chance at his team winning the relay. Well, that, and so he can go out with Azu. Part 4.5. Hagita's actual character moments. Hagita isn't just a meme or a bro. Who would have guessed? He does indeed have an actual character, albeit it is joked upon multiple times throughout the manga. At one point, Kakeru describes him purely by the fact that he has glasses, and you really hate to see this Hagita slander. He's been nothing but a bro to you, Kakeru, and this is how you repay him? Just disappointed in you, Kakeru. Anyways, to cover some actual moments, they're pretty tied in with the last point. We see Hagita's desire to improve, which ties into him wanting to go beyond his limits to help the team win. But it also does serve as some form of character development, because he's showing determination to get better at running for his friends. Which most of his character moments overlap with him being a good boy and helping out. Hence why this isn't its own section, but part of the prior one. Part
Get
the anime adaptation.
There is no orange anime adaptation.
Part 5. Why Hagita? The story of me choosing the name Hagita has literally nothing to do with orange, except the name Hagita. I chose it because I wanted a real name for my Pokemon trainer in Pokemon Go, not XX Lord 42069XX. So I looked for names that I could use of anime characters I knew, and Hagita was the one that went through. It's just kind of stuck ever since, and I tried to make it stick, because it's not often you can get just Hagita on so many different platforms. I have it on Reddit, my Switch account, Letterboxd, and a few other places. So as it turns out, being a minor character in a fairly niche manga with a shit anime adaptation has its perks. This overly in-depth look at Hagita was motivated purely by curiosity and the fact that I own all of the Orange manga, and it's only like 20 chapters, so I can read it all in like an hour for references. But I've kind of grown attached to the name Hagita. It's about as weird to say as my normal name, but I grew up with the internet and the understanding to never use your real name for online activities. So I've always strived to create a separate internet persona to be my internet persona, as opposed to my real life one. I've gone through so many different personas in the span of my time on the internet, especially my early Minecraft roleplay days. But now I think I've finally achieved that duality of Hagita the character, well, the YouTube persona, and then my IRL self. And as I grow older, the lines between the two become blurred. Most of the time, I make the distinction purely as something in the bio of my different social media accounts. There is no purely Hagita side of myself, just like there's no purely IRL version of me. I've become intertwined the version of Hagita I created surrounding my content.